Oh, yeah.
So we held our first game jam three years ago, and we did it on kind of short notice. We held it in a warehouse, and about 80 developers and artists showed up, and we were like, holy crap, like this is a thing that the market actually really wants this. And so we planned it again for the following year, and this is our third year. And OJam, we kind of wanted to be very Canadian, so it's, you know, Ottawa's game jam, but we hold it the weekend before Canada Day every year.
Yeah, OJam was really like random, you know, we're, hey, we should do a game jam and stuff, and we were all having lunch together. By the end of that lunch, we had the domain, the Twitter handle, the Facebook, we had a logo all ready to go, and we were ready to get this started. And I think it was something like 6 or 8 weeks before the actual game jam started, and we got sponsorship and all of that, and we just kind of went all in on it. And when people showed up, we're like, all right, this is a thing. So the second year, which was held in Microsoft Studios, the same place as it is this year, it went smoothly. It was amazing. We loved it. So we upped it up a notch this year. We added a whole bunch more. We have a whole sound crew. We have artists, 3D artists, for the developers to submit and you know, get sounds, get assets for their games. And it's been an amazing experience, the games that come out of OJam.
It would be
Yeah, we grab this map, yeah. Like in the middle of the room or whatever, and then people actually progress around and just like.
It's literally like jumping.
Yeah, you're doubling dimensions by
So far it's been about 2 hours now. We've basically chosen the game that we want to make. We fleshed out the general idea. And in terms of how we lead back to the theme, what's done can't be undone. Is as you touch stuff, you know, you're now putting yourself in fault, and you can't undo that. That's it. You've now touched the thing, and you're now at fault for, you know, the crime or whatever murder or whatever it is that's been done. So yeah, in about 2 hours, we want to have the character done. We want to have the base room layout done. I'm going to start. We have, you know, one guy working on coding. I'm going to do coding myself. We're going to code some of the simpler stuff of just character movement. So once you get all that stuff, that should be done in about 2 hours. So, yeah.
It's like 11:49. You know, 3 of our team members are going to be going home. I think Alec is actually going to be going home soon as well. So this is going to be me and John that is left, you know, overnight. We're staying overnight, so. But basically, since 8 o'clock, we've had a couple complications where we haven't really decided. We know what the game idea we want to make is. We just haven't exactly decided on what medium we're going to do it. Like, John brought a VR system, and, you know, we were like, okay, maybe it'd be cool to do it in VR. And then, you know, we asked some people that weren't on our group, we're like, maybe, you know, like what do you guys think about making our game idea in VR? And they're like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. And, you know, doing that was not, I wouldn't consider that a mistake, but that definitely just affected, that kind of swayed, like, at least some of our personalities, like some of our thought process of, you know, how the game should be made.
So there have been some conflicts with decision making when it comes to 3D, 2D, VR, Pixel, and some team members were really passionate about doing a VR experience, while others were passionate doing like an old school nostalgic Game Boy experience. So having that conversation literally lasted like into the night and then into today.
So me and John were heavily leaning towards making the game in VR because we were, you know, wanted the experience to be in a specific way. Like we wanted the player to experience something a little bit different than just a normal 2D, you know, game could present you.
still doing stuff regardless of what happened. She was
Also
still doing
talking
work.
right now, and we gotta cut this.
Okay, so
Cut it down.
All right, so
Breaking
so
it.
do you guys want to do 2D? Yeah. 2D?
I'm Team 2D. We're always 2D.
2D.
There you go. 2D
Robin,
wins.
2D.
Boys, I'm breaking your heart, and I knew it, and I was so sad, and I was like, fuck.
So yeah, it's decided we're doing
Okay,
2D.
I'm gonna pack up then and we can start working. I think
And we had this here systems here to make it, but everyone was kind of reluctant to do it in VR. No one really understands VR. Some people haven't even made games yet. They're just kind of here at the game jam, and just making any game is kind of like their kind of big step, their big challenge. So for us to go like, oh, let's go into like the deep end, let's make VR games, and no one really knows how to do it. Everyone's kind of like, let's not do that because we don't know what to do.
But we figured it out, which is really good. We decided to go the route of like the Game Boy 2D, true to what our initial idea was. But it was a rocky road for sure, like, because you don't want to insult people's craft, and like a couple of the guys spent all night working on things, so with that you obviously don't want to break their heart and say this isn't what we want to do, but you just have to be true to yourself. So we were all very honest with what we wanted, and that was awesome.
I mean, for me, it's, I just love seeing the reactions of people, seeing the teamwork, the collaboration, the excitement. A little bit of stress is always a good thing. Just all those you see like all of the human emotions possible, and some new ones you didn't know existed in 48 hours, which is great. You see people push themselves, you see people really support each other. And what's really amazing about this is, I don't know if a lot of people realize, like, this is an event we put on for free. Like, everyone's here for free. We don't make any money off this. Like, the sponsors that are involved, Microsoft Studios and Carmen Interactive nearby, they help sponsor it, so we have a venue to do this and free food. So this is something that's a positive initiative for people, and I think people realize that. But during these events, I think the camaraderie is just the most amazing thing. And the end of the event, when you see the people sharing their games, and some of the games are broken or not finished, some of them are amazing, it doesn't matter. Everyone's supporting them, everyone learns something, and you definitely walk away from it with a positive feeling. So that's the best thing for me, for sure.
Honestly, seeing this game jam, just like witnessing what's going on here, especially with like the art teams and the sound teams, and like all the developers coming in, making the requests and focusing on their game. This is how you got to do game jams. Like, going forward, this is kind of how it should be. Teams, whether or not the game jam provides this, teams have to do this going forward, because I've seen a lot of game jams and the end result of game jams, and a lot of them have really cool mechanics that usually ends up being what happens. A funky mechanic gets made, and then a game gets built around that mechanic. That's usually how something becomes successful in a game jam. But here, all the games, I mean, it's almost like they're polished games. Like, they've got the audio, the music, the art assets and everything like that on top of it. The developers get to just focus on making the game. So it's going to be extremely hard to go to any other game jam and just see like developers coding their game, because all we're going to see is like, what are the sounds, what's the art and stuff like that. So after all of this and witnessing people like work together, see what it's like to actually work in a game studio, because basically that's what they're doing, this is how you have to do it going forward. All game jams need to do this.
Well, I heard from a couple of the teams that said, that they were learning to communicate better within their own studio. And I think it was one of the game artists, even last year, that had said, I've learned how to communicate better with developers. Like, this is going to help me in my everyday job. And I think that's really important. Yes, people are here to make games, and that's cool, but they're learning, skills that are going to help them in their career and help them with communication as well.
Even if you don't know anything at all about game dev, and you just come in with some people, and maybe you want to be a story writer, or want to come up with ideas and stuff, and you're not coding or doing art or whatever, you will learn so much that by the end of the 48 hours you might be like, maybe I should learn how to code because this is fun, right?
It's now 1:22. I think there's about just a little bit less than like 20, like 18 hours or something left before we have to present the game. Most of the teams in here, a lot of the guys went home. John went home at about 9 yesterday. He was up with me. He was here overnight. I'm going to do a lot of the programming, and I want to code all the stuff, like all the movements, make sure all the movements fluid, make sure all the room transition is fluid, the level system is fluid, like have everything just working properly, and even get a nicer looking, you know, the walls and stuff, make the walls look nicer, because I know a lot of them are still temp files. So once all that is done, I'm probably gonna go to sleep, and then that'll be about like maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll be done all that, and then yeah.
My name is Jason Renault, and I'm a 3D artist. I represent my company, which is 3 Pixels. So we're offering services to all of the teams here, whether it be 3D or development. We're going to be here to try and help them out. We have a couple of years of experience working with various companies in the region, and hopefully we can help them out as much as possible. So far, a lot of the teams that came to see us are looking for very low poly 3D art assets. What we can do is help them by helping them understand where we can go and how far we can bring the models. A lot of them seem to have that mentality that 3D is complex and takes a lot of time. So we're trying to really show them that we can do more than what they think is possible in this short amount of time. So far we've been allocating about 4 hours per team, and that allowed us to do a pretty good job for them. This event is fantastic because you're sitting down, you're actually talking with people, you're exchanging ideas, you're building that relationship that people start realizing, oh, I'm comfortable with this guy, so you know, maybe I'll call him again if I need some 3D or I need some devs, right? And that's what I found being like the #1 here, is that networking opportunity.
Do more game jams. Like you know, we're just like one game jam in one city, right? Like there are game jams all over the world. We actually plan on doing a lot more game jams in different cities all across Canada. But there's game jams online. There's tons of them. Do them, because even if it's a solo game jam online and you're just making a quick little game for either a 24-hour period or a week-long period, just like do them. That's like the most important thing that anybody could possibly do, because you learn so much, and who knows, you can make something silly, people love it, and then that's your success story.
Ottawa has actually been amazing, because a lot of the most successful indie stories in Ottawa, those games have started out of a game jam. So Keep Talking, No One Explodes, Star Wall, Bendy and the Ink Machine were all developed in weekend game jams. And so yes, you should come and do these, you know, for the positive feeling for teamwork, but it can also lead to a really successful game, and you know, and your career, and kind of make you in the industry. So it's definitely one of the reasons why it's important to do them. But also too, like for me, it's like I want people to walk away with a positive experience. You know, I think one thing that I wanted to mention, you know, is that for me, running these events, we want to make sure that they're very diverse. Everyone feels included. Everyone feels welcome here, and I think that's why our events are so, you know, diverse. Everyone, all shapes, colors, forms, whatever, are welcome and included. And I think having diverse teams helps fuel creativity. So I want people to realize that when they come to these events, yeah, they're going to be learning, but they're going to see diverse teams produce better content, produce better teams and better games. And I think that's a big important message that we have as well.
Yeah, Jillian makes a good point. I mean, one of the things too that is really cool about game jams is the teams. You know, be it a successful game or not, that, you know, that's one thing. But a lot of people meeting each other and seeing the skills that they have. I mean, there's even a couple of people that I've talked to that are even thinking of, you know, creating a studio with people that they've met. So a lot can happen in game jams. And on Jillian's point with diversity, you can see the diversity throughout all the teams and you see how they work. And I mean, it's almost a guarantee. When you see what's happening, they're thinking of it in the back of their mind, they're like, oh, this is what we should be doing. And
well,
really
a lot
works.
of people, you know, tend to stay in their comfort zone and work with, you know, similar people like them. When you get out to a game jam and you meet new people and you work with new teams, you get a whole new perspective, and that's extremely important in this industry for sure. And that's something that we really want to promote. So, you know, in terms of, you know, going to game jams, meet new people, work on new things, get out of your element, you know, and I think that will really help open your brain and help creativity and help the industry for sure.
Yeah, I've only been in the industry for 3 years, and I've already seen things like, you know, having more women in the industry, it's happening like at a really fast rate. Like OJam has a lot of women that showed up. I had no idea that was going to happen, but even the teams are like 50-50. It's crazy.
It's amazing.
It's awesome. The industry is going in the right direction for sure. When year one of OJam started, I just became a game developer, like on my own. I have no education or anything like that. I just started teaching myself how to be a game dev. I didn't really have much experience with this at all, or even how game jams work. So my thought was like, let's have all the developers and all that come in, and we'll just provide them with everything. You know, food, drinks, whatever they need. And you know, if they want to crash, we'll make sure that they have places to sleep and stuff like that, and they can just stay here for the full 48 hours. But I don't really have much experience. But I have experience in like the social aspect of things with like social media and marketing and stuff like that. So doing that was relatively easy for us to just set up all the social accounts and start making, you know, announcements and stuff like that.
Get shit done.
That's what we do. We get shit done.
I spent a lot of time getting to know people in the industry and what they wanted. And so the past couple of years, I've really started to get involved in events to help developers and people in the industry with their careers enjoy the industry, stay in the industry, and produce great games. And so for me, you know, I knew that, you know, events and initiatives that help them, you know, in their career, help them learn teamwork, help them with their skills, and also creating positive and safe environments for them to come and learn and get to know each other was really important.
In terms of, if I had another 2 hours, I would make a lot more of it work, I guess. Like there's some things I won't be able to work with, like he wrote some code, but if I import it to the project, I might break the project entirely.
Alright folks, looks like everyone's kind of packing up and finishing up, but I just want to let you know you got about 5 minutes before we're going to start doing demos, okay?
Okay, thanks. We're walking through different steps of our game and trying to figure out how to present them. I think we're pretty happy with it. The game went really well. It's a pretty nice final product for a game jam. It's quite pretty. I think we're happy with our gameplay rules. All that's left is the pitch.
Terrorizing the town by throwing wild tires into the streets. Run over people and hit other objects in the city.
Oh, that's awesome.
Called Spellorama. The basic premise is that you're a wizard that gets 4 random spells, and then if you use one, you lose it, and then you get a new one. So you can't, once you use the spell, you're stuck with whatever ends up replacing it. So you use spells or defeat the enemies to get by. So certain spells will end up letting them. Why would you use that one to start with? Why?
That's awesome.
What's done cannot be undone, and humanity has sucked the earth dry of all of its natural resources. They've funneled it all into exploring the stars and building spacecraft to find a new home. Blast off into the stars and find a new planet. These are all procedurally generated. So you see, this planet actually has a fair few resources on it, and you can collect them pretty easily. It's 15% efficiency. It's all right, but it's really dangerous. So you can choose. You can either leave the planet or you can stay in and upcycle it. So you can actually see we've got some resources. There's our population down here. The more resources you get, the more people you can sustain on your colony ship. But if you stay too long, unfortunately, next one. If you stay too long on a planet, with the planet's atmosphere being so corrupt, it really isn't too habitable. The planet probably will, end up imploding or, actually destroy itself and take you with it. So you got to kind of watch what you're doing. You got to take care of the environment.
You're in a museum and you want to go explore the exhibit. So I'm going to go into the museum and then I'll explain what happens after you go to the museum. So basically, the character gets knocked out. It's kind of hard to get from that. The character knocks out, he wakes up, in a scene. He doesn't really understand what's happening. You kind of are put in this environment where you're like, well, I don't really know how I got here. I don't know what this is. And the main mechanic that we were trying to go for was, as you touch stuff, you basically faulted yourself. You're not putting yourself in fault of a crime you didn't commit. When the police do come and when the police do arrive, and you have to talk to them. The more things you have touched, the more of at fault you are. And you have to answer the questions perfectly in response to basically get out of being fault of this crime that you didn't commit. But yeah, that's kind of it.
We want to keep continually growing this. One thing that's important to us, obviously, is supporting indies and supporting people starting their own companies and making games. Because of what we've seen in terms of results of the games and teams working together and the quality of games coming out of game jams, what Mike and I want to do is actually put together a fund. And we actually want to help winning teams or indie teams develop their games. And so we want to put together money to help them live. We want to put together, resources in terms of marketing or PR or development or art and help indie teams develop their games and become a success. So that's what we're hoping to do for year 4.
It's kind of a little mini announcement because we haven't really officially done it.
That is the official announcement.